Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Crazy Stupid Marketing Show, the show where we talk about all the crazy, stupid stuff people do in marketing and how you cannot do crazy, stupid marketing, but you can instead do smart, foundational, meaningful things with your marketing time. And today, we have a topic, my friends, that is really the raison d'etre, the reason for being of this show, which is how do we figure out what we are going to do in marketing? Because there are many different ways to do many different types of things. But what is a way? What is your way? What is the way? I'm using air quotes for people who are only on audio. There's a whole bunch of ways that people are talking about things. And so today we are going to be breaking down a whole bunch of different ways and how we can look at how can we actually try stuff on, again, idea of the show, to figure out what you would do instead of just doing what someone else is telling you to do, which may be ending you up in the stupid category of the crazy stupid marketing. So with that, if you are joining us live, we would love to hear your voice as part of the conversation today. Please feel free to get into the chat and share your thoughts, your questions, your perspectives, your experiences, because that makes this conversation all the more robust. And because it's never just me here talking about Tracy stuff. And for those of you who are new to me, Tracy Borison, host of the Crazy Stupid Marketing Show, I have a wonderful guest who is going to have this wonderful conversation with me, who gave me a little tip that she might have had something right along the lines of this conversation already come up today. So we're probably going to start off the conversation there, but we want to hear your voice too. So if you're here, don't let that frighten you from putting your stuff in the comments. We want to hear that as well. All right, so let's learn a little bit more about our lovely guest, Tollisha. Tollisha, can you tell us a little bit more about you and share as much as you would like at this point about your thoughts on the way, your way, a way, all the ways, multiple directions? I don't know. Take it away.
Take it away.
Okay, haha. Did you guys see what I did there?
Yes. Hi. Hello, everyone. So, me and Tracy have been in community for a little while, and this conversation is a derivative from a conversation that we had in private. So, I'm very excited to be here and share that conversation with you. My name is Tollisha Joseph. I am the founder and CEO of The Official Glue. I'm a networking strategist, and I help individuals master the art of networking so that they can get on the yes side of their business. And crazy enough, I was at a mural. They're putting up a mural in our city here, and my husband has the luxury of documenting a lot of the murals that go up around our city. And so we were working on the artist, and her technique of training was interesting, and it made me think about this conversation because she was showing people the way. Right? And so we had the conversation about that. And her trainees were learning the fundamentals of how to get this done. And she said something to me because we have a relationship too, and she was like, "Yeah, if I was doing it my way, it would be a little different, but I want to show them the way." And I was like, "Oh, this is what I'm going to have a conversation with or about in a few minutes." So that was very interesting because while she was teaching them how to transfer the image onto the walls, I was remembering what I was taught in art school when I was in like middle school, right? I'm a little older, guys. I was in middle school
We're not in middle school anymore. Let's put it
a
that
longer
way.
time ago. I mean, decades have passed since I was in middle school, but the fact remains that there is the way. There is the way to do things, which I believe is the fundamental tools to get something done. So bringing that into the marketing space, I do believe that there is the way to market, right? But now we're discovering how can we take that way and transition it into your way.
Or like, and this is kind of the fun of this, and we're going to throw a lot. So 3 primary things are going to be happening here today, folks. There's the way, which in this scenario, we're talking about the fundamentals of how stuff gets done, right? There are ways to get stuff done and there's ways to not get stuff done. That's what we are going to be referring to as the way. There is also a way, or a way, which is somebody's way. And the reason I want to create a differentiation between those two things is that a way is an interpretation of the way.
Yes.
But it might not be your interpretation of the way, which is your way. And so the art is a really great way to think about it, because when we think about a lot of the great artists, there might be a kind of, like, if you think about like Renaissance as a theme, right? There's lots of different Renaissance artists, but they don't have all quite the same style, but they do have a lot of the same basic foundations. A lot of them are using the same kind of materials and things like that. So the way, a way, aka Vincent van Gogh, and your way, aka Tracy Borison, if you're me. So Tollisha, let's start off with the way. And let's talk about the like definition of the way, because I think a lot of times there does end up being confusion between the way and a way, and that people sell a way as the way. But that's not actually the whole story. So what would you share in that arena?
I think when it comes to marketing, I think socially, a way is more digestible than the way. So a way is a way to market this idea because we want to consume the shortcut version of the way. So nobody really wants to spend the time to know the way. We're all kind of looking for a way to shortcut the ideas. So I think what we're faced with right now is that we're in a digital time. Everybody has a microphone, everybody has a camera. So we're overwhelmed with everybody's a way to do it. And so no one is really positioning the way to do it, because then that would remove them from having to teach you how to get it done. So I think the gap between the way and a way is a sales ploy, right? In my opinion, because I feel like if we taught everyone the way, the foundational steps of getting things done, we feel like it might remove the need for them to ask us for the way. So it's kind of this looping idea of how much information can I really put on social media? How much information can I really publicize without removing the need to need me?
Well, and it's interesting too, because I think even from the consumer side of it, like the people buying marketing services and things like that, is that there's an expectation that you're just going to run with it, right? So like you do your thing your way, and whether you're selling it as a way or the way or whichever, that specific way, and that I will just be over here as the consumer of that and reap the rewards. I think there's I mean, everything is two-sided, right? So partially this is like, yes, I'm a marketer. I have 20 years of marketing experience. I probably know things about marketing that people who don't have 20 years of marketing experience don't know. And at the same time, what I do know is that marketing foundations have been the same since the first book about marketing was written hundreds of years ago, right? The basic foundational concepts are not different. But
Yeah.
we've gotten into this like sales, the sales ploy, as you called it, which is really tied into then the codependency, right? So if I'm selling you a service and I want you to keep buying that service, then I need you to think you need me. I can't provide too much so that you can like run with this on your own, because then how do I get paid?
Yeah.
And there's a complexity there, because at the same time, you have consumers being like, well, I don't want to know about marketing, right? Like, you just go over there and you know about marketing, and I'll pay you and you'll do the marketing stuff. And I never have to know about any of it, which is also, in my opinion, what creates the gap between the way and your way. Because even if you
Yeah.
then knew the good foundations of marketing, which is what we try to share on the show, you don't know how to transition that into what you would do. You just have the basic foundations, which, I mean, it's not bad to have the basic foundations. It's a lot more than a lot of people have. But it's interesting to look at that, how much of the responsibility is on the service provider and how much of the responsibility is on the consumer, to actually understand the difference between the way, a way, and my way.
Well, I think that's interesting because I feel like right now in the economy that we're in, the consumer market is dimming, right?
Mm,
Because everybody's now a teacher. Everybody has a skill that they're leveraging. So it's really difficult to get people to consume what you can offer. So we're in a, I mean, think about this in real estate, buyer's market, seller's market. We're in a seller's market in the economic standpoint of everybody wants to sell something. So there's not many people who are ready to buy.
mm,
And so the away kind of idea is being pushed a lot more now because we're in the market that we're in. So I think we are still, I mean, we've gone through a couple of phases in the marketing trend for the last 5 years, almost 5 years since post pandemic, where we were in a consumer market a couple of years ago. Because when COVID hit, the need for knowledge was heavy. It was like, I need to know how to use StreamYard. I need to know how to use Zoom. I need to know how to get my audience to be on this virtual platform. I need to know how to use LinkedIn differently. I need to know how to use Instagram differently. I need to know. There was such a dire need to know because we all felt like we don't know anything because the world has now changed, right?
mhm,
And then we went into the ideation market where now everybody's creating ideas. So I believe I would call that the ideation isolation market, where now we're heavy creator. Now we get into the digital age of content is king, creation is king. You know you got to be a creator now, because if you want to stand out in the market, you need to create, which is this post culture, right? And now we're in this marketing age where, you know what, you got to market everything. Make sure you proposition everything. Make sure you have a sales focused idea. Make sure when you're using your social media that is sales driven, you know, entertainment, information, all the buckets, right? So this is where the foundation of marketing needs to be known. So you have to know the way first, because understanding the market trends and where we are in the marketing cycle, you can set yourself up for better results. But if you're just trying to go and do things your way and not have that the way information, you're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt yourself because you don't have the insight to know where you are in the market. So
mm,
your way probably is great, but is it effective? That's
mm.
the difference.
Well, and I think this is a frustration I have about marketing in general, is that often it's based on activity and not based on effectiveness. And there's even still very little like marketing goal setting that is meaningful from a performance perspective. And so I think we have given marketing an easy out for some time in terms of what it actually needs to be doing. And we say things like brand awareness, but then we can't track brand awareness. So we just assume that our content creation adds to brand awareness, but this is not necessarily true, right? And I think these are some of the important foundational principles that people need to understand in terms of making their decisions, because your way might look like a unique combination of different platforms and tactics and things like that. And I believe that it should. But the way humans consume marketing, the way humans experience marketing, these types of things, while they have evolved over time, and because we have more channels and things of that nature, we don't actually, we still have a specific relationship with marketing. And so if we go back to like the beginning and we think about what relationship do we have with ads, with radio, with, I was actually having this interesting conversation with my husband the other day, and I'd love to get your opinion because he's not a marketer. But on, I am amazed by the ability of radio to adapt, right? Like radio was one of the very first advertising methodologies, and it is still used as an advertising methodology today. And then I was having a conversation about how our brains absorb audio versus how our brains process visual. And it was just like curious to me because I'm like, oh, this is so interesting. Everyone's talking about like stopping the scroll, right? But very rarely on social media, for example. And maybe it is a little bit different on TikTok. I don't actually use TikTok, so I wouldn't know. YouTube is a better example, right? Because YouTube will just like play the next video and it has audio that's associated with it. But if you're just scrolling on LinkedIn, like the videos are on mute, right? There's no auditory trigger that happens there. And so like, these are just the interesting things to think about if your advertising is now specifically what we're talking about, not marketing in general.
Yeah.
But like if what you're trying to do,
I would say that slow down because people don't know the difference between advertising and marketing, which is the way idea.
Very true. And actually, this is a good place to slow down because I do think that a lot of times people think that advertising is marketing.
It's marketing.
And especially like now that digital advertising is one of the more accessible types of advertising that people can do, that they think that that's marketing. If I just post ads, then that is marketing. And so to pull it back again, behind the curtain, folks, marketing contains a lot of different things. It includes information about your product. It includes information about pricing, placement, which may or may not be advertisement. It might be in a store front. These still exist. And promotion. So of the 4 P's, promotion is only one of those things.
Only one piece of the marketing scope.
Yes.
And I love that you said that because I think the reason why we even got here was because we were talking about how your way might only be limited to one piece of the scope and not including multiple avenues of the marketing scope. And because you're not understanding the way to get it done, then you don't really have the broad view of how much you can actually do if you market it properly.
Mm-hmm. And it's true because and this is something I find very interesting, specifically in the B2B tech space, because very often product is managed separately. Product is one of the 4 P's. So from a marketing perspective, product is critical, right? Like it's a critical component. It's not something that we can actually make decisions on if we're missing that. And when we think about the ideas of things like placement and promotion and pricing, without that being influenced by product, like what are we even doing here? Right?
Yeah.
And I think this is, I mean, and I'm a marketer, so maybe it's my bias, but marketing touches pretty much every part of the organization, all the way from delivery, right? Like, so if I'm a marketer and I've made a promise here about what we deliver, and now you in operations or delivery don't deliver that, I mean, we have a problem, right? This is not going to work. Not, I don't think anybody likes being made promises and then those promises being broken. And I will
Yeah.
tell you, specifically marketers, specifically me, because I take a stand for this now, but like, I will not promote something I don't believe will be executed. Let's not put lipstick on a pig, as I believe we say.
Well, you can't. And so to me, one of the foundational laws of marketing is that your belief system is what drives the marketing. Like your how you feel about it, because if we know anything about marketing, like I said in the beginning, marketing is a derivative of emotional relations. It's an emotional play here, right? So, and we believe that it's the emotion of the consumer, but it's not. It's the emotion of the creator that drives the market. And so if you're not passionate and driven by your product, what it is that you believe in, the market will never believe in it. They will never find use for it. They will never be enthusiastic about it. They will never believe in it. And this is one of the main reasons why I'm a networking strategist, because we have really gotten so trained to let the customer guide the ship. Like the customer tells us what's marketable, what the advertising should look like. The customer has so much control here that we're losing our minds as the creator. We're like, we don't know what to do. So the customer is really taking us on an emotional roller coaster. And then this is where imposter syndrome, burnout, all of these ideas are derived because we're allowing our consumers to take us on an emotional roller coaster. We have to get in control of the marketing and really drive the market. But that's not where we are right now because of a way, because there is a way to do everything. And we believe that there is a way, right? And so we're listening to the market to tell us a way to do it.
Well, and like, this is the thing that is so, it's curious to me too, because I talk about that all the time, right? How this is like, yes, we are here to serve the clients. The clients are going to buy the things, but at the end of the day, we saw a gap in the market. We saw an issue. We're trying to fix it. And so, like, let's talk about it. But it's also curious because I'm thinking now about like the deeper human connection principles, and about how generally what you're seeing in someone else is a reflection of yourself. And I always say marketing is the most effective when it identifies alignment between the buyer and the seller. And that could be a values alignment, it could be a product need alignment, but the whole point is that you've demonstrated that there's alignment between you and another person. And if it's true that what we see in other people is a reflection of ourselves, then it bears witness to believe that that is also happening in marketing. And this is the number one reason why I tell people marketing can't convince people to buy. It doesn't change people's minds, right? Like if you see a chocolate bar at the grocery store checkout, I didn't convince you to buy chocolate. You already wanted chocolate and I made it available to you, which is it's a good strategy, right? That's why grocery stores still do it and all of them do it, right? Like marketing is about making things available, but making things available, so what? Right? So the people who need it know that
Where to find it.
yeah, here it is. Come and get it.
Well, I would say for me, I think that is advertisement. Making things available and showcasing where I can find that thing is the advertisement piece of marketing.
Mhm.
Marketing is, I think, in my mind, I go back to that one um, idea about the grocery store and the cereal. Every person that's ever even said, I want to know anything about marketing has seen this, like the grocery store and the cereal. And like what you said, one of the P's, placement. Where do we place the cereal in the aisle to make it more attractive to the person who has an emotional connection to this product, right? So the marketing strategy for cereal is, okay, we put the grown up, more adult cereals on the higher level shelves. We put the cereals for kids on the lower level shelves so that the kids are attracted to the colorful boxes and the cartoon characters. All of those details are the marketing part. The colorful box, the cartoon character, the placement on the shelf, even down to the pricing is part of the marketing strategy to get the person who wants this product to see the product and be like, oh, I saw the commercial, see the connection for this cereal. Mommy, I do this. I want this cereal. They never tasted it. They don't know what kind of
They're
thing they're
probably
going
not
to
going to
get.
like it after they taste it either.
They have no idea what's in the box, and that's the thing, right? Like marketing, your customer doesn't need to know what's in the box. They need to be in emotionally invested in your concept in order to discover what's in the box. That's it. So I think we misinterpret marketing for advertising,
Mhm.
and we kind of remove the part of the discovery process for our consumer because they don't really need to know what's in the box. They need to
Mhm.
want be compelled to discover what's in the box because we've done a great job at marketing. We've put it in the right place. We've given them the concept. We've told the story. We've done all of the marketing things to make it so that when they arrive in the grocery store, they're now seeking out our product. And when they find it, they're overjoyed by the finding and they have a compelled nature to figure out what's inside. That's
Mhm.
marketing. Advertising is, it's available. Like it's available.
Here's this
And
flyer in your
yeah,
mailbox, and it's
it's
telling you
available.
this cereal is on sale today.
Yeah, that's the ad. That's the ad. The cereal's on sale. It's available. And that is flat. So marketing is what drives ads. Ads don't drive markets. So we have this thing turned away from the focal point.
And in fact, like quite the flip flop, right? Because I do think it's very common that people think that advertising generates demand and therefore like like and I don't know. I always think this about the flyers in my mailbox, right? Like I don't maybe I am not maybe I'm privileged. I am totally privileged in lots of different ways, but I don't look at those flyers for the groceries. And I don't if Honey Nut Cheerios are on sale or not on sale, if I'm out of them, I will go buy them. Right? And I won't buy a different cereal because this is my cereal of choice. And I've tried many cereals. Have I tried all of the cereals? No, I haven't. I have never tried Count Chocula, and I probably never will. But what I think, like, I'm gonna just stick with the cereal example because I think it's a really good example too. Is
Mhm.
that like when like all of us who are adults who are listening, right? You've walked down a cereal aisle. There are cereals you see, and there's cereals you don't. Right?
Yeah.
Like I see, I
Honey
see
bunches of
Honey Nut
oats.
Cheerios, right? And some people see other things, but like the point is that you see something, and it's something about that marketing mix that has allowed you to create an emotional attachment to cereal.
Yeah.
Right? And like most of us would walk down and be like, I don't have an emotional attachment to cereal. But then when we if you really think about it, you do. You have a higher level of emotional connection to a specific cereal than you do to other cereals. And that's
a lot
based
of
on,
that,
yeah.
I'm sorry, a lot of that emotion, and I think for myself, right? For instance, and please, they're not paying us to use their products in our
No,
in
sorry,
our,
no.
so
Although, if you would like me to advertise,
yeah, you want us to
Cheerios,
advertise, I'm totally good for it.
hook me up.
But I remember there was a scenario in my home where my uncle and my aunt came to live in our house, and they used Miracle Whip, and my home used Hellman's. So we were a Hellman's house, right? Like, we would go to the grocery store and see Publix mayonnaise. It's like we don't even see that. We're looking for the blue label with the blue top, Hellman's mayonnaise. And we're so emotionally driven to that we're like convincing other people that they need to have Hellman's. And Miracle Whip is disgusting. Like, how dare you have Miracle Whip in your cabinet? Why aren't you using Hellman's? Like, we are literally fighting over mayonnaise, okay? But then, you know, but then my aunt made a dish, like I think it was on the holidays, and it was kind of, I think it's like potato salad. So she uses Miracle Whip in the potato salad, which makes the potato salad a little sweeter. So for me, growing up, when I moved out of my house and I moved into my own house, I was using Hellman's mayonnaise. And when I wanted to make potato salad, guess what I was using?
Hellman's
Miracle Whip.
mayonnaise. Oh,
No,
you got
Miracle
both.
Whip. Because I tasted the Miracle Whip, but I had an experience with Miracle Whip, which now made me want to buy it for a specific reason. That's the emotion, right? I'm only going to buy this for a specific purpose. But my everyday mayonnaise is not even my own choice. My everyday mayonnaise is because I grew up with this mayonnaise. My family had an emotional connection to this mayonnaise. So that emotion transfers over to me. I don't even know why I use Hellman's mayonnaise. I just do it because my family does it, right? And in reality, if I had the experience and I had a taste test of all the mayonnaise, honestly, today, because my palate's different and I want to experience a little bit more, I'm more exploratory in my market. Today, my favorite mayonnaise is Duke's. But that is because I like tried different stuff. I experienced different things. When we come to marketing, it's like some of the reasons why you are emotionally attached to something doesn't even derive from your attachment. It's your exposure to it. Your family used it, so now you use it, and you never even question why. You're just like, this is what we do. And then the other side of this is based on experience. So now your experience with something gives you a limited reasoning for it. Like, oh, I'm going to drink this water because when I'm outside walking, this water makes me feel better. But my everyday water is this. Like, we make rationale for all types of things. But then when we start to open up our palate and say, you know what? I want to make my own decisions now. I'm tired of being driven by my family's emotional trauma. And, and
With mayonnaise.
these limited experiences that I'm having with mayonnaise. And there's a lot of mayonnaise on this shelf. And I think the evolution of this is when you start to read the labels and you understand that mayonnaise, they're all the same. They all have the same freaking ingredients, right? They all have this, one maybe have vinegar and the other one has sugar. So the real decision is, do you want a sweet mayonnaise or you want a sour mayonnaise? Like, that's the real decision. But all of that to say that a lot of the things that we decide when it comes to marketing has nothing to do with the product itself. It has everything to do with the whole idea that we've created in our mind about the product. So the advertisement is not as critical to the marketing strategy as we think it is, right? The biggest piece of the marketing strategy is the idea that we can create for our client, which is why visual storytelling, audio, all of that gets to infuse ideas into our clients. Without the visual, without that Hellman's mayonnaise label, I couldn't identify that it was Hellman's brand. We need our brand. Without the story that my grandmother told me about Hellman's mayonnaise, I won't have that emotional attachment to it. So I need the story, you know, and I also have to have the experience with the product in order to make me a fan of the product. Because remember, I said I was arguing with my people about Hellman's mayonnaise. So do you want your people to have arguments over your product? And I think that is when you know marketing works. When when you get into a house and you guys are like going at it over football teams and going at it over Coca-Cola and Pepsi, or going at it over McDonald's or Burger King, like, these things are because they are marketing you so well and you don't even realize it. And now your kids are like, we don't eat Burger King, we eat McDonald's, right? Or we don't use Miracle Whip, we use helmets, right? And you'll defend it. And that's when you know that marketing is working. The ad in the mail isn't what drives that emotion, it's everything together. If you can infuse your idea into someone and get them to believe in it, you've done a great job at marketing.
I mean, just yes to all of the things that you said. And the interesting thing about this is that, again, I have a lot of people who tell me they don't know anything about marketing. And the thing is that, like, that brand experience that you just explained with the mayonnaise, well, maybe not everyone's had it with mayonnaise. Like, everyone has had that, right? It's the reason why I go to Disney parks but not Universal, right? Like, it's my preference. I've had an experience that I like in one place and not at the other place, and that is me. But that's based on an experience. And the reason we went there is that there was this idea that this is what it's like to be on a family vacation. And even though it probably didn't exactly manifest the way I had imagined it would, because nothing ever does, like, that is what creates my experience of that product and all the service that goes into that as well, because a lot of products are also services. And I think this also ties back to what you were talking about earlier, Tollisha, about like the company kind of standing for their story and their solution instead of just trying to pull information from the market, because what we're out there creating for people will create the experience it creates. And at the end of the day, while we influence that, we might intentionally design. I mean, now I'm thinking of Disney, right? They do a very good job of intentionally creating a very specific type of experience at their theme parks. What someone takes away, we don't have any control over. And so what we do with the marketing is we create that experience that we want for people to have. And some people will have that and some people will not. And the people who have that will become your brand champions, whether you, most importantly, not because you ask them to, but because they want to. They want it. I mean, I don't know if we want to have a fight over mayonnaise, but like, the point is that you want to stand up for your brand preferences and you want to share that you're an Apple user, right? Or an Android. And like, people, they pick and then they own those things. And as the marketer, we make that opportunity available.
Yes.
But we don't decide. At the end of the day, the customer decides. But also because we've said this is the type of experience we're out here creating, right? You have a desire to participate in that kind of experience, or you don't, right? Like, if you don't, that's fine. I'm not going to convince you to. This is what we're doing over here.
Exactly
and
that.
Yeah. And then it becomes kind of, this is the thing where I think is like really interesting with marketing, because for a very long time, people have tried to create like a very tangible way to market or to measure brand experience, right? And I don't know. You know what? Like, now I'm thinking of restaurants. I'm not going to mention like specific restaurants, but like, there's restaurants you go to and you go to them to like eat, right? And you're just like, I'm going here to eat this today because I need to have food.
Yes.
And then there's restaurants you go to because it's an experience to go to the restaurant, right? And maybe it's like a birthday restaurant, or like we have a local Italian place where we go, where it's like we go when it's going to be like family style, right? Because we're going for that like family style experience. And we always go to the same place and we tell everybody about it because we're like, this place is so amazing, and the food is great and the prices are good and like all of these things. And we all make those decisions for ourselves, right? Like, I don't know, some people might rather go to a McDonald's than a fancy steakhouse based on the experience that they're trying to go for. But at the end of the day, we create the experience that is us, that is a good reflection of who we are, and it attracts the people who want that experience, instead of trying to convince someone who wants to go get Wagyu beef at a steakhouse to go to McDonald's, right? Like, that's just not, it's not going to work. And especially if you're only depending on advertising to do the convincing.
Yeah. And I think that this is where the slogan, your network is your net worth, comes in, because there is a convincing space. In the marketing strategy, the space of convincing is network. That is where convincing kind of happens, but it's not from you, right? This is why part of marketing strategies require testimonials, reviews. This is the space of convincing, because I'm not convincing, Tracy's convincing, right? Because you're going out and defending your experience. And that is what you want your network to do for you. You want your network to be equipped to defend their experience with you. So I think, for me, the foundational pillars of networking is we're never looking for clients. We're always looking for advocates and affiliates. And back to what you said about Disney, Disney and Universal are the same company, right? They've created a competition within their own scope just to influence us to do one thing or the next. They've created a decision in our mind, limited to two options. That's what they've done. The experience for us is we're going to battle. We're going to have our consumers be in a battle about our products. You can have the Disney experience or you can have the Universal experience, but either experience you choose, the profit all comes to me. So it really doesn't matter, right? But I want you to defend one side or other. Maybe you're more adventurous, so I've provided an adventurous option, or maybe you are more family oriented. I want you to have a space where you can go with your entire family and have a childlike experience. But both experiences are my experiences that I created. And I think that we don't even think about that in the marketing strategy. We're so focused on competitive analysis that we're not creating our own competition. We're competing with other people, but the bigger markets have an understanding of we're not competing with other people. We're competing against ourselves. And this is something that we hear all the time, but do we really understand what that looks like in marketing? You have two products. You create two products that are opposite in emotional value, and then you pin them against each other and let the consumer decide which one they value more. And then they become advocates for the one that they love, and you're creating arguments in families over Disney or Universal. but and and at the end of the day, it's competition against me. I'm not competing with the market. I'm competing with my products, right? Think about this. Colgate, um, they have toothpaste, they have deodorant, they have many products underneath that bigger umbrella, but they're all competing against themselves. They're not in a competitive market. They're competing with their own products, right? And I think that in the marketing side of things, we're not really going into the way enough, because if we understood the way that marketing works, then we can manipulate that way and create your way to do your marketing that's going to work for your product or your service or your industry. And I think we talked about niching in our conversation too. And really, I don't even know where that idea came from. Like, who promoted that idea? Because think about this. if Disney's not niching down and saying we're only focused on the childlike experience, where they have Universal, they have MGM, they own these companies. Like the bigger conglomerate owns these companies, and they're all different. Epcot is different from MGM. MGM is different from Universal. Universal is different from Disney, but it's under one umbrella. One creator thought of all these different ideas and figured out how to do one of the P's that you talked about, package them well and price them well so that you have a variety of options to choose from where I'll get paid. Like, period.
Well,
So,
and I think this is interesting too, because when we tie this back to product, because again, I think a lot of times product is being removed from marketing right now to the detriment of everybody. But when you think about toothpaste, when I think about toothpaste, I think about mint toothpaste and cinnamon toothpaste, right? And I always think, who would want to use cinnamon toothpaste? That sounds disgusting. But there's lots of people actually, and now my son doesn't like mint, so he's like a cinnamon guy. This is why. But they've actually like created that separation with the product and said now we have a variety of products for people. So pretty much everybody is brushing their teeth, right? It's not like I'm targeting people who are between the ages of 45 and 55 who live in Southern Florida and blah, 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 blah. Well, a lot
and
of other
eat
people.
cinnamon for dinner every
But,
night. And so they're just going to love my cinnamon flavored toothpaste. And that's the only option that I'm going to provide because I need to focus on one thing and not provide a variety. Come on.
Even in this part of the experience, right? For those of you who are watching, like this is an opportunity to try it on, right? Does that feel like something you would do? Does it feel like that something you would do just to have just cinnamon toothpaste when you could very easily manufacture spearmint or peppermint or watermelon or whatever other kind of crazy flavors there are nowadays, right? Like you could do that, and then you can reach a greater variety of people. And
Oh boy.
there are
I would
people.
say, look at Dove. I mean, there's so many products that we can really just study and look at and see, like, what are they doing? Think about Dove. Dove is like one that I'm like, oh my God, really? This is so simple. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. And we just buy into the stupidity, right? We just changed the bottle from white to black and said one is for women and one is for men. Same product inside the bottle, but this one is black bottle, so that's obviously for men, and the white bottle is obviously for women. And guess what? We've infused this idea into you to tell you that the black bottle's for the man and the white bottle's for the woman, and you just eat it up, but not recognizing they're the same product. Same liquid is inside the bottle. They just marketed it differently and said, oh, well, black means boy and white means girl. That's it. That's the only difference, right? And I think when we talk about differentiators and marketing, like your way or a way that people are kind of pushing the mark. Oh, you got to have this granular difference. You know, you got to stand out. You got to make this big difference between you and your competitor, because if there's not this wide separation between you and your competitors, you will never be seen. White bottle, black bottle. The logo's the same. The bird on the product's the same. The font is the same. Everything on the shape of the bottle is the same. The only difference between the men's Dove and the women's Dove is the color of the bottle. Such a small difference is making a huge impact in your mind. So why are we trying so hard to be so different when all you got to do is have a millimeter of a difference can make a huge impact.
This is really true. And like we've done a couple of episodes before on innovation in marketing and how like 80% of innovation is just like tweaks, right? In that scenario, we're not even changing anything product based, right? We got a different color of dye we put into this percentage of the bottles, and that's it, right? That's all. That's the only difference. And the interesting thing about that, though, although I do feel like there are other brands who have followed suit on that since then, like that was a very simple innovation, in terms of someone saying, how can we sell more of this product? Right? So we're creating this product, we're selling it to women. How could we sell more of it?
Yeah.
We could sell it to men. Right?
We can sell it. We're selling 2-to-1 house now. The ratio of purchase is increased because the women are buying the one that's for women, and the man in the house is buying the one for the man. So now we're doubling consumption in the single household just by changing the color of a bottle. Marketing,
Yeah.
like genius marketing. Dove, genius at, like, this is genius. But the crazy stupid part about this is, crazy for small businesses to do all of this market research, maybe on big businesses, and not get the idea of the details in the marketing strategy to implement in their small business, or recognize how stupid that we are by not even doing comprehensive research to figure out what the details are that we can implement in our way. Right? And it's like,
well, and I think, like, I always think this, and I'm sure you've seen this too, Tollisha, like, especially solopreneurs doing market research, asking their market how much they would pay for this. Right? Just to touch on the price component of the 4 Ps
I need a
here.
drink.
I like, and every time I see it, I will never understand that, because I don't understand enough about what you're selling to actually give it a good valuation. So now I'm going to tell you that this has very little value to me. One, you don't even know that I'm the right person. Like, because if I think it has very little value, I'm probably the wrong person. But we take all of that as like market research and industry data, and then we make decisions about how to price our products, or how to, I know from a like coaching component, I've seen a lot of people who will like actually let their not even actual customers dictate what a package looks like, right? What is an ideal package for me to serve? No, Dove was not like, what's an ideal package for us to serve this to men? No, they were like, you know what? Okay, so we've branded ourselves on the women's side in like this light color. So if we're going to create contrast, maybe we'll go with the opposite and go with black. And I think sometimes they do gray, but it's like it's dark color, right?
It's
And I'm
visually
pretty sure
contrasting. It's already creating a narrative in your mind. When you walk down the aisle and you see the women's Dove, and quite frankly, the regular Dove does not say women's Dove.
no.
The men's Dove says men. But
Yeah.
the women's, it like, we've already created this narrative in our head that they never sold us. They never told us that the white bottle equals women and the man bottle equals man. We just created that storyline in our minds because of the visual contrast on the aisle. So placement, putting one thing next to another thing, and allowing your consumer to now create and imagine what this means, is a great thing in marketing. And now we get to the fun part, the storytelling in marketing, where I think we're kind of being crazy, where we want to explain the hell out of everything. It's like, we got to tell the story from front, back, in between. We got to give you all the ad libs, the in libs, the outlet. Like, we got to write all these books to market our product, and we're reducing the creativity of our consumer when we do that. Our consumer is no longer in a creative space. They don't get to create how they can use this product, where they can see it in their house, who they could possibly give it to. We've reduced their creativity because we want to be overly creative. And it's like, come on. Marketing tells you to let the consumer control the narrative. You give them the idea and let them create the story. Let them create the story, because the more space that you give for them to create the story around your product, they're starting to implement usage for your product and their storyline. Mr. Clean, like all of these products, right? It's like, the story was the bald guy in the t-shirt that comes in and cleans your house. But they never told you, well, this thing is good, all the reasons why you need to use this product. We just saw him cleaning up the floor and cleaning up the bathroom.
You're like,
And
wow, that looks dirty, and he made it look really easy. I should probably get that.
I should probably get that. And now you're imagining, well, I could use that on my windows. I could probably use that on my, you have created more usages for this product where you only saw it used 3 ways. But now you buy it and you're like, I can wipe my walls, I can clean my kid's white shirt with it. Like, I can figure out a million ways to do this thing. And I think part of the your way of marketing is your way is overpowering the market. And the your way is it's inauthentic. It's not allowing creativity to drive. It's suffocating. And this is why we're like, oh, I'm so sick of networking. I'm so tired of social media. We're literally exhausted by the market because we're over consumed by it. And if everybody wants to explain their product down to the microism of it, it's like, where do I get to think here? Like, you're burning out my brain because I don't get to use it. I don't get to use my brain. It's mindless marketing. And that's not a way to market. And it's absolutely not the way to market.
Mm-hmm. This is so interesting because I'm realizing that we are almost at an hour here. So we will wrap it up right away, folks. But this concept about letting your consumer be creative with the story, it's something, one of the things I always say is that the customer needs to be able to put themselves in the story. Right? If I've dictated so much of the story that they can't see themselves in the story, then I've done too much. And people are so, and I think this is, again, heavily influenced by a lot of tech solutions coming out because people love to promote features from a tech perspective. And now what I'm telling you is every single path that Dorothy walked down in The Wizard of Oz. And therefore, you don't have to imagine what it's like to walk down the yellow brick road because I told you exactly what it's like. So either you're in alignment with exactly what it's like or you're not. And every single thing you've given me that I'm not in alignment with allows me to become less and less aligned with your product. Instead of me just saying, hey, we are out here to clean, Mr. Clean. Like, I need to clean, right? Okay, you just said yes. And now we can move farther in our marketing conversation. But I'm totally with you. We are giving people too much. It's not allowing them to be creative. People actually want to be creative. But I also think on this quote unquote ease of use side that we've been sold the fact that we shouldn't have to think. And again, I do think this comes into play with a lot of people who are outsourcing their marketing, which is that I don't want to think about social media. So I'm going to outsource this to a social media manager and they're just going to do it for me. And that it creates the same problem, right? There's no buy-in from even that person. The person who is paying money to have that service doesn't have the buy-in. You're not in the story. You're not putting yourself in the story. And therefore, this goes into the crazy, stupid marketing pieces again, right? Because you're doing things and it looks like the thing should be doing something for us. But because we're not cognizant of the way, which is that I got to create enough space for my customers to find themselves in this product or in this service, then it doesn't matter how many efforts, doesn't matter how many TV ads or how many flyers I send out or how many digital ads I run or how many social media posts I post. It's not creating that opportunity for the connection. Yeah. And this is where, I'm trying to figure out a way to wrap this up in a nice little bundle for everybody for today. But honestly, I don't think there's a nice little bundle for today, folks.
Yeah, I think honesty is the best
kind
policy.
Of messy.
And the whole circumstance is messy, right? And
Well, the
And
human experience is messy. So.
yeah, and I think we have an obligation, and I feel this I'm so passionate about this, right? From a networking perspective, because for me, networking is a marketing strategy. It is one of the ways that you can get into your market, share what you're marketing. It is one of the ways. There's multiple ways to market, right? But we also know that the P's are the foundation of marketing. So if you are using networking as your marketing strategy, you still got to hit the P's, right? Right? If you are using social media, digital marketing as your marketing strategy, guess what? You still got to hit the P's. If you are using influencer marketing as your market, like if you're using relationship marketing, there's so if you know so many different marketings.
Podcast, email marketing, a book,
It doesn't
trade
really
shows.
matter what tool you use. You have to know the way to use it. Like you have to know the way. And so I think from that perspective, like it is our obligation as people who are educated and know the way, because we studied and we're the true experts in this, because we can explain it to you 1,080 different ways. We can manipulate it so well that you don't even realize you're getting the manipulated version of what we know, because we are experts in it and we know the way. We know the way like the back of our hand. The same way that you can go anywhere and know your way home, we know how to get back home. And I think it's our obligation in that to stand firm in telling the truth about it, right? Going back to where we started about the I don't want to give too much, because then that removes the need for me. I don't need you to need me. I don't want you to be codependent on me. What I really need you to do is continue to share where you got the information from. That's what's going to keep me sustained. That is what's going to keep me alive. If I try to hold on to you and clench you and keep you in my pocket, I'm suffocating you. I am not letting you thrive and grow. And guess what? Marketing is an evolutionary thing. There's always something new to be learned in this thing of marketing. I'm never going to be outdated as long as I keep updating myself on what's going on in the market. There's no fear here. So, doing marketing afraid is a problem. Being scared to use the marketing tools because you feel like this scarcity mindset of if I say too much, people are not going to need me is stupid. And it is really crazy for those who know what to do not to share what they know. Because at the end of the day, we need to clean up the scope of marketing. It's full of trash, and we need to start cleaning it up. And how are we going to clean it up if we don't want to have messy conversations? If we don't want to tell the truth? We got to clean this thing up, because if we keep clogging the pipes with garbage, it's going to be harder for people to find me, substance, or you, substance. And that's not useful for me or you. So,
or
messy
the
conversations,
people.
messy conversations, I'm willing to have them, because if you mad about it, go work on it. If you mad about it, go work on it. That's all I can say to you. Don't be mad. Let that frustration be your fuel to go find something that is going to force you to work. That's what I would say. I'm okay with having messy endings. Let's mess this thing up, because at the end of the day, as long as it's honest and true, I'm okay with it.
Oh, and I think this is, again, it's one of the reasons why the show exists, is that I feel like there's not enough of that in the marketing conversation. And therefore, we bring it to you folks. And I do want to just so we had a comment come in from Maria earlier about how the balance between being creative but definitive. And that emotional marketing is what allows us to transmit the most relevant messages of the products and services. And these are it's not as simple as saying do this, right? Post on social media once a day. It's not that easy. And when a lot of quote unquote solution providers in marketing are providing those types of recommendations of what to do, and it is a way But there's also, unfortunately, a lot of ways on the internet now that are not based in good marketing foundations, aka the way that actually
Mm-hmm.
makes this work, which are actually, that misalignment is what creates crazy stupid marketing. Like
Yeah.
we do things because someone told us to, but they don't have good foundations in marketing, and therefore they don't work. And then we think there's something wrong with us, and if we just implemented it properly, then it would be fine, but it won't, because it's not based on the way. It doesn't make sense. And when we talk about your way, this is really like an ownership opportunity, right? It's an opportunity for you to even say, like what we were saying, this is kind of messy and complex, but let's have the conversation. Let's work through it. Let's figure out what is the difference between the way and a way and our way. And we want to make sure that if we're building our way, that it is on top of the way
No way.
and has a solid marketing foundation. Otherwise, we're going to be spinning our wheels for a very, very long time and continuing to do crazy, stupid marketing, which is not the point of this show. Yeah. So, with that, Tollisha, oh my gosh, thank you so much for sharing all of your insights.
I have one last example.
Of course,
you do. That this is really good one, because I feel like this will give you a good. When I was in the hospitality business, I had to fight. I was like grappling, be like, let me be a trainer. And I got there. I was a trainer. So I did that. And what I trained one person, my first person, really taking her under my wings and showing her how to do this thing. And she was pissed with me, right? So mad, because I was showing her the way. And we would rehearse the way that the company wanted these things done. And although I adapted my way of doing things, because I've been there longer, I've had experience, I have a foundational understanding of the way, and now I can start implementing my way, because I know that my way, secure that my way will render the same results. Right. That does not mean that I have a license to show her my way. Right. And I think that this is something that we have to be super careful about as coaches, consultants, trainers. If you take license of showing people the way that you did it, and they don't have the experience, then you're creating failures for them. You're actually helping them fail at it, because they don't have the experience that you have. They didn't pay the $20 million to go to school and learn all the tactics and fundamentals and the basics. So you're starting them at a point of disadvantage. You're not giving them an advantage. And this is from low level training to high executive training. So if you're not willing to sacrifice your way for the way, in the way that you're going to transmit information, don't call yourself a trainer. If you just want to do things your way because you know that your way will get results for you, don't teach your bad habits to someone else. And although they will produce great results for you, that doesn't mean they're going to produce great results for them, because your way is not duplicable. It can't be duplicated. It's literally, it's not going to render the same results. So there's no guarantee on results if you transmit your way. I had to take her through the corporate standard way. This is how we do things. Like it or not, I don't like it. I don't do this anymore, but you have to learn it. And after you learn how to do it this way, you can manipulate it into your way. If you find a short way that works for you, wonderful. But I can't teach you the shortcuts. I have to teach you the basic and fundamentals of this, because that's how you're going to succeed. The end result of this is that she became a corporate trainer faster than I did, because she knew the way. And so the value in the way is huge. And I think we have to go back and say to ourselves, are we willing to sacrifice our way to show people the way? And I think that we need to be more sacrificial in our trainings and getting people the information that they need so that they can start to build their own way and feel more comfortable and secure in the results that they're going to get for themselves.
Oh, I love that so much. And it's actually funny because You know when someone describes what you do in like better words than you describe what you do? It happens sometimes. And I'm like, this is like the thing I do, right? Is that like, so I have my way, and my way works very well for me. And I have always told people, if you want to know my way, I will share it with you. Book a coffee chat, I'll share with you my way, because I don't know what's going to work for you because it's my way. If you want to understand the way and what you need to know about the way in order to craft your way so that it serves you the same way as the way, okay, then let's talk about it, right? This is what we're going to learn here. This is what the Crazy Stupid Marketing Show is about, folks, is about the way, the fundamental underlying things about, let's not even call them things, fundamental underlying truths about marketing that when you understand them, you can construct your way that makes sense. And if you do not understand them, no way will work. You. There will be no way.
You might bring you some results, but you definitely won't be happy, because the time and the energy and the effort that you're going to have to apply to get a result it's going, so all of the things that you're going to have to do to get a result is going to burn you out.
Right. And then these are the things, right? Everyone wants it to be scalable. Well, that's not scalable, right? Burning yourself out to get one tiny result, that's not scalable, right? No. You got to be able to do this on an ongoing basis in a recurring way forever. Potentially. It will evolve, of course. But like, you have to be able to, again, put yourself in those shoes and say like, yeah, I could do that. I could show up and do that in a meaningful way. And it feels good for me. And then that's when we're getting into the your way zone. But yeah, again, very often in the current market, what people are actually selling is their way. It is a way, it works for them, but it is highly dependent on being that person and how they show up to the world and how they network and how they talk and how the experience they have and like all of the very specific things that make a person a person. And that's why they generally fail in the teaching of that way to other people, because other people won't execute it that same way. And so here, folks, here's what I can promise you about the Crazy Stupid Marketing Show. This is where we talk about the way, those foundational underlying marketing truths that you can build upon. There's nothing. And you know what? I think we're on, I don't know, episode 45 or something right now today. If you can go back and look at any one of those episodes, and in none of them will we be promoting a way that is not based, one, we don't promote a way ever, but two, it is not based on just someone's way, right? It's always based on the way, the things that work. So if you're interested in learning more about that, please dive into the entire episode library of the Crazy Stupid Marketing Show, which you can find on YouTube if you look for Crazy Stupid Marketing. And subscribe.
I love that advertisement.
Yeah, we will always be there giving you good new information about the way. And I am just going to share this too, because one of the things I don't share enough on this show is that there is an authentic marketing fellowship that is being put together by the guests that are on this show. And you can find it on the tlbcoaching.com website. Let's go to Authentic Marketing Fellows. And it has links and book a coffee chat links and everything for as many people who have provided me with their information to be of the guests. So one of the things that you can depend on from that repository of information is that you will get good information about the way and not about a way. And that is very heavily curated by me, and I will bet my reputation on it. So you guys can bet on it too. So yeah, go check that out and have conversations with the experts who come on this show, because they all have that same underlying commitment, is that they want to help you understand the way. And if you're ready for that, then these are your people.
These are your people. That was so good. This was so good.
Tollisha, where is the best place for people to find you if they are interested in having more of a conversation about maybe some authentic networking?
Yeah, I think that we're in one of those spaces where I market, which is
Yes.
LinkedIn, and the other space that I'm heavily marketing in is on Instagram. All of my stuff on how to connect with me lives in these spaces. So if, as long as you tap in, you get to tap into me. I'm always available, right? So
This is the benefit of social media. We're
oh,
always available.
it is. It's such a benefit. Like, social media is a great marketing tool that I think if we had the understanding of the way, people would just fall in love with this. They really would. And so that's where you can find me. I'm really focused on the networking marketing ploy, but just so you guys have a real good understanding of this, in order for me to do my job well, I need to know marketing well. And so I need to know the way of marketing in order to implement some of the things into the networking strategy of marketing. I get confused a lot where people are like, "Oh, are you a marketing?" No, I have to understand marketing in order to do my job well. So I help with networking. How do you become the product so that you could position yourself well so that people will consume your ideas, promotion, all that stuff. So if you're interested in learning more about how you can become your first product, talk to me.
Yes, absolutely. And like every conversation I ever have with Tollisha is always a good way to spend my time. So I would
Clearly,
always
we
recommend.
know how to keep going.
We could keep going for a very long time, and maybe we'll do a follow-up episode because there's still like a lot of messy mess that is out there. The your way, the way, our way. So you never know. We might come back.
Yeah. This might turn into a whole like series.
You never know. Well, and you know, like I kind of love the concept of that though, because if we are talking about one learning the way, right? You don't come to a 1 hour webinar and learn all of the ways about marketing. It's just not a thing, right? And also learning versus putting things into practice, there's a different amount of retention that happens in those things. So when we're talking about and then we have to talk about how do you tell the difference between the way and a way, right? Like that's a big project. And then how do you construct your way on top of the way? There's a whole lot more that we could talk
That could
about
be
here.
shared.
This sounds like a
Definitely.
panel conversation, actually.
It
I
sounds
feel like
like
this.
something. It sounds like something that's going to turn into a whole marketing ploy. That's what it
You
sounds.
just wait. Tracy's always coming up with new series of things.
It
So
sounds like
stay
something that's
tuned.
marketable.
Actually, maybe a workshop. Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah. Who knows? But for those of you who joined us live today, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. Maria, in particular, thank you for sharing your thoughts in the chat. Tollisha, always a pleasure, my friend. Hopefully we get to do it again soon. And until next time, everybody, permission to do you.
Bye.